Hi everyone, it's Jessica. Today's April 19th, 2015, and this is VEDA Day 19. I'm just recording a quick video tonight to say how thankful and somewhat amazed I am at the amazing people who are in my life because of my online travels. I just got off of a Google Hangout where 3 other educators and myself were planning a PD session that we will be facilitating up at the INEDCO conference in June here in Keystone, Colorado. And it's just blowing my mind that and Sarah Thomas, who is out in the Maryland area, and Nancy White, who is down in Colorado Springs, which is about an hour from where I am, and myself in Denver, and Chris Rogers, who's in Georgia, are 4 people who met online. Some of us have never met before, so I've actually not met Chris in person. He and I had our first online interaction about a year ago during EdCamp Global, and we were both in a session. If you're not familiar with EdCamp Global, it's a completely online EdCamp, and you choose your hangouts that you're going to be in based on the topics and the interests that you have. And so there were 3 of us in the conversation, and the woman who was leading the conversation ended up having computer problems, and her connection dropped. And so then it was just Chris and I hanging out and chatting in this Google Hangout room the first time that we met. And then we continued to connect on Twitter and then eventually on Voxer. And so the day that I get to meet Chris will be really exciting because we have this awesome online relationship, and it'll be really amazing to just see him face to face. Sarah Thomas is a similar story. I met Sarah online through Twitter, and then she came out last year to EdCamp Denver, and then I got to see her for one day at INEDCO last year. And so we've been able to have these, little day long here and a couple days at this conference, but for the most part, that was a relationship that was built online, and we continue to sustain that relationship through, again, Twitter and Google Plus and Voxer. And Nancy White is an awesome educator who's, in Colorado Springs. And so Nancy and I, although we have been able to meet face to face maybe a little more often than the other people, it also is really great because we do live pretty far away, but we're able to stay connected through Google Hangouts and Twitter and Google Plus. And so it just always blows my mind that, what are the odds that these 4, people who were very recently strangers to one another would all end up coming together and meeting one another online, and then, in various places, meeting face to face, and then be able to put together a session that they're going to facilitate at a conference with one another. And I just think it's a really great example of the power of investing in your PLN and building those relationships. I think sometimes people spend a lot of time on Twitter, but they don't necessarily have a lot to show for it. And I don't want to say that in a way that sounds like I'm judging how people choose to engage on Twitter, because I'm definitely not. If people are getting what they want out of it, then, that's all that matters to me. But I do think that there's a lot of people who aren't necessarily taking things to the next level and fostering those relationships and really creating lasting relationships rather than just sort of surface level sharing and resharing of resources and blog posts and things. And the 4 of us really came together because of an Audrey Waters article about an LMS that came out last summer, and the fact that Nancy shared the article, and then a couple of us saw it, and then we started having this conversation on Twitter, and then we were really excited about the things that we were talking about. We had all these questions about it, and so we took our conversation to Voxer, and we've had a Voxer group talking about, just all these different things about the LMS, and then one of us will come across a new article or a new blog post that gets us thinking about this, and then we'll share that in the group, and then we'll discuss that, and it's the best example that I have of a really small but powerful PLN and the way that you can continue to grow those relationships while also growing as an educator. Every time someone finds a new resource and shares it, we read it, we're discussing it, we have these really rich conversations that are really thought-provoking and that really a lot of times raise more questions than answers. And that's how I know that the conversation is really good, is when I walk away with more questions than solutions. And so I just wanted to kind of share how thankful I'm feeling right now for those 3 other people, who I now can call my friends, and truly mean that. I think some people have someone who they kind of sort of walk past on Twitter quite frequently and maybe call them, acquaintances and things like that. But, these are 3 people who I really care about, who make me laugh and get me thinking and who I can lean on for support. And, our relationship has extended far beyond resources that we share or even this conversation about an LMS. And for that, I am very, very grateful. So just want to kind of say a little shout out to my 3 LMS peeps and to say how thankful I am for the way that they've invested in not just this planning process for INEDCO, but just, building this awesome little community that we have going. And I just also wanted to kind of just, put it out there that we really do get out of Twitter and Google Plus and Voxer, what you put into it. And so, a little challenge to all of you who are in a social media space to invest just a little bit more in even one person or one relationship that you have there. And I'm going to kind of be thinking about that too. Like, where are the places that I could invest more or reinvest where maybe things have fallen off a little bit, and who are the people who I need to reach back out to and continue to grow those relationships, because they really are important to me. They mean a lot to me, and I want to make sure that the people in my PLN know that. So those are my thoughts for this evening. I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend and a really great Sunday, and I'll chat with all of you tomorrow.